apologize for that. So the video dropped momentarily. Hopefully we're back as we're on board with Ken here.
Yeah, kind of monitoring some of that short technical glitch. I missed Ken Rodriguez's splits, but in any event, he's coming to the line now in that BMW Z4, if I'm not mistaken.
He is, as Ken to P5, so nice run there for Ken. On board now with David Poole. Oh, big slide into one. Actually worked out pretty well for him.
Yeah, and it may be how he has the car set up to get through there, particularly for this Superpole qualifying here. He may have taken a little bit of chance on setup to try to get the best possible speed out of it. I tell you, David Poole and Chris Moses in that substitute role, of course, again, have been doing a bit of collaboration. I know that they have worked pretty hard on the setup for this Superpole event and going forward here over the course of the next week.
So David Poole up in the first sector. That first sector time it's a little strange. I think this Poole is not up 5 seconds here in sector 1.
No.
It's always been a little glitch here at this track in the first sector. Sector 2 should give us a better idea of where he stands. Yeah, but David, is this the season he breaks through, Brad, and actually wins the championship?
Well, he's got some tough competition. I mean, he's got to get through the likes of Alex White. We look at that second split time here, just about 3/10 off. And let's not forget last year's season 22 championship winner, Andres Prieto, of course. There is some very stiff competition out there, and David Poole is simply going to have to put in better results than those guys on a consistent basis. Now, he is extremely consistent, but will this be the year? I don't know. Stay tuned and find out.
So Poole to the line, to third. So that's time by Alex Scott, holding up pretty well so far. Up to second as Johnny Lucknut, second half of Team TFS, to the line to start his lap. Yeah, just touching back real quick on David. He's been right there. The last several seasons, he's been right there up until the last two races left in the season, and then gets some bad luck and ends up out of it. So hopefully he can keep it all together this season and make a run for it. So Johnny Lugnuts looking pretty quick here in this Corvette.
Yeah, looking like a good lap so far.
1.3 off in the first sector.
Yeah, which is actually pretty good, really, relative to some of the guys that we have seen come through. So Johnny Lugnut's not looking too bad at this point.
I'll tell you what, I saw some surprising names up near the front. I guess we shouldn't be too surprised at this juncture. So in practice, too, Jonathan Cup and Dan Wilkerson. Yeah, Jonathan Cuppert, Wilkerson, and Matt Taylor. Among the best times in the session.
Yeah, those were good times, and you know what? I think Johnny Lugnuts is on a pretty good time as well. Looks like he's slotting in somewhere around the 46s at the moment, but held it together very nicely through that second sector, it has to be said. So got the Corvette hooked up through that turn 7, very important corner, and got through the bus stop pretty nicely as well.
He certainly did. So Lugnuts to the line, wow, to 5th. Nice lap there for Johnny. Looks like we missed. Did I miss Matt Taylor's lap?
I think Matt Taylor may have gone out absolutely first, and so we might have missed Matt Taylor.
Interesting. All right, well,
I think.
Marty, you're in now. In the Mercedes, Marty carrying a little bit of extra weight because they decided to switch cars after they picked the Nissan. So, in doing so, he incurred a weight penalty.
Did they initially select the Nissan Nismo?
That's right.
Huh. Yeah, not a great car for this track, but boy, it'd be good for some tracks coming up.
Marty, only 7/10 off in the first sector. Big slide there, heading onto the back straight.
Yeah, what an interesting season. Look, everybody's tied at this point, right, Al? So,
Yeah,
you know, hope. Yeah, this is great.
Have to keep an eye on Marty through here. There, he gets through all right.
Yeah, it was certainly clean, and like you say, with that extra weight ballast, really holding his time very well, it has to be said.
So let's see where Marty ends up here as he crosses the stripe. To 5th. So lost a bit of time there in the second half of the track. So Marty tucks in behind Matt Taylor and in front of Johnny Lugnuts. Kurt Chandler starting his lap here in the Ferrari 458. Part of Desert Dogs Racing.
Oh!
Ooh, wow! That's as close as you can get to taking it off into the weeds.
Yeah, it only takes about 1/4 of a tire width on that grass to send you off. That's pretty close. Just maximizing all the road is Curtis Chandler. I call that good driving. Yeah, taking a look here, the track temperature has gone up just slightly now, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So that 5.1 seconds would indicate about 1.3 seconds or so off through that first sector. Knowing kind of the wonkiness of the timing through that split.
So Kurt on the back straight here as he approaches the bus stop. Kurt, big fan of the Ferrari. I don't believe he's teamed up with anybody this season. So he jumped on that opportunity to drive a 458. Bit off there in the second split. Bit of a slide. You're going to see a lot of guys do that. That big lurch.
Yeah, not terribly clean through the bus stop chicane, but this 458 in general is going to be a very good all-around performer over the course of the season, so not necessarily the speediest car in terms of outright speed around this place. Will struggle a little bit, but good choice for the upcoming season.
So Kurt to 7th. So we've got 14 guys with times. Just about halfway done here. Going along pretty well. Jack keeping it pretty tight there through turn 1.
Yeah, this BMW an exceptionally well-handling car, so not a lot of speed out of the corners, but you can sure take a lot of aerodynamics away from this car and still keep it stable, so it is actually a pretty darn good performer down these long straight.
So Jack with a pretty decent season 22 last season. Had some good runs. I got a feeling this car is going to suit Jack. Ooh, just as I say that, he takes it. Couldn't get it to turn.
Yeah, but you know what? He didn't really back out of it very much,
No.
did he? He pretty much he kept the foot in it and said, well, I'll just trust it. It'll turn eventually. I like it. I think I would have lifted, but...
Yeah. sloppy through the bus stop, but not too bad.
Yeah, he certainly made an effort to get back to the curbing. I know all these guys are going to be very careful about those cuts. So. And checking on replay, he actually did make it clean.
So approach the line, Jack to 10th. Right in front of Bob Lee, so not a bad time there for Jack. Ian Jolicoeur now. Well, don't count Ian out here, as Ian is very quick.
Yeah, it all depends on the amount of practice laps. If Ian has had about 5 or 6 practice laps, then he's pretty good to go. If he's only had 2 or 3, then he'll start off shaky here for a couple laps.
Yeah, nice powering through that corner. Moses remains on top here in Superpole qualifying. Ooh! Wow, big correction there from Ian.
Yeah, and Ian has that car set up very loose at the moment, so I don't know if it's just trying to get a little bit of extra aggression here for the Superpole lap, trying to put down a good time. But if that carries over to the race, he's going to be struggling a little bit.
Yeah, he did a great job to save that. I just watched it on the replay, man. It's not easy to do. That was me. So Ian to the bus stop. Whoa!
Well, that car really wants to swap ends. But loose is fast, as they say, and perhaps not so much in this particular occasion, but in general, I suppose that's true. The track temperature does continue to creep up now, 40 degrees centigrade, and those rear tires are taking some pretty good heat, so it could be sliding around into that as well.
And to the line, to 7th. I'm sure he's a little disappointed with that time. So Ian would be up a little higher in the standings. Now, Sebastian Moreno, newcomer here to NAGP. Part of our ever-growing Colombian contingent in the Audi R8.
Yeah, and the Colombian contingent not only continues to grow, but continues to work together. Many of them not only teaming up together, but choosing similar type of cars too, and so exchanging information. It might be the NAGP's first super team.
So Sebastian teaming up with Felipe Triana here for season 23. So it'll be interesting to see how Sebastian does here. He had a pretty decent practice time. I think I get the feeling with some once he gets a feel for it, feel of the car, the different tracks, and put some time in, I got a feeling he'll be competing with a lot of these guys.
It's a possibility. So I saw a high 146 for Sebastian in that practice period, but I think the main thing to be concerned about really is that internet connection at the moment, as it does look a little warpy, and it certainly was in our fun race.
Yeah, it does look a little herky-jerky, doesn't it? Seems okay right now. So as we watch Sebastian as he approaches the start-finish, we'll see where Sebastian ends up here in qualifying. To 9th, right in front of Ian.
Yeah, and really not such a bad time there, it has to be said, with being a newcomer and all that. First Superpole, not too shabby.
Kreshnik Khalili. Kreshnik now has become a veteran here at NAGP.
He has, and I tell you something else. Sorry, Al. He has been putting in quite a bit of time to improve and refine some of those racing skills as well. So Kreshnik, I believe, his stock is on the rise.
I tend to agree with you there, Brad. he's had some moments there where he's driven quite well, but there are times where he has some bad luck. Ooh, as he nearly takes it off. Ooh, and he does. He takes it off track. Keep it going there, Kreshnik.
Yeah, I think that Porsche really bit him there. It is a tricky car to handle, particularly on low fuel.
It certainly is, and keep in mind that we do give awards out for drivers and team championships, but we also give awards out to the competition index, which basically is the driver that covers the most distance in a season. So qualifying, Superpole, and the qualifying race count towards that. So Kreshnik, if he wants a shot at that award, he's got to put in this lap. So you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot that early. Go ahead.
No. Kreshnik, not the type of guy to pull the parachute and hit escape, Al.
There's no doubt that spin will most likely move him to the back. Tell you what, if I was that, I'm not sure who's coming up behind. So Kreshnik to 18th. That's Jaime Moore in the Ford GT. If I was Jaime and I saw Kreshnik spin, the way the draft works around here, I might have not let up so much. Yeah, but you don't want to put too much pressure on a guy when he's trying to put a lap down.
Well, that's true, but I mean, shoot, coming through the bus stop chicane, you know, how much pressure are you going to put a guy under? I think I agree with you, Al.
Us old wily veterans, right? Always thinking.
Boy, Jaime taking it. Sorry, Al. Jaime taking it very deep there. He actually did a good job there. That rear end really wanted to come around on him. He was nice and patient on the brakes, despite that mistake, to make sure he didn't lose the car. Whoa! So car is very loose on entry here.
So Jaime Moore, part of Team Columbia Nuis, with defending GT2 champion Andres Prieto.
Yeah, and I tell you, I think some of these mistakes early in Jaime Moore's lap really has just come down to a little bit of anxiety and pressure, I think, because these guys have been turning a lot of laps, and no doubt many of those have been single pole qualifying laps as well. So I think Jaime's feeling the heat.
Yeah, so these guys, they just missed out on the team championship last season. Came down the final race at Spa. We broadcasted that race. Rodrigo Triano was exited early, and it was just up to Juan Monroy, but Jaime Moore also DNF'd, I believe, and really ended up costing him the championship. But Jaime Moore to 5th, so good lap for him. Esteban Palacio back at it here, part of Chow Mein Moto, in a familiar car. I think they drove this Audi a couple seasons ago, Brad, if I recall.
Yeah, that's right. So they should have some good knowledge of its inner workings. And here, of course, the disco lights will be in full effect.
So we're starting to get down to the quote-unquote heavy hitters now. Well, actually, we still got a little ways to go. Well, yeah, I guess we do have some heavy hitters coming up. So we're right on board.
Yeah, we'll tend to... Sorry, Al. We'll tend to see more times there in the 145s from this point on. That's right. Esteban not getting great drive out of that corner. Took it just a little too deep. Such a tough corner to gauge correctly.
For those of you watching, be aware we're going to have a 30-minute qualifying race at the conclusion of this single lap portion of qualifying. In between that, we'll have Quali 2 session to allow guys to join in late, and then a 5-minute warm-up, and then off to the race. So the race should be about 13 laps, 13 to 14 laps, max distance 14, but I don't think it will go the distance. I think it will end at
Now, I love the Superpole event. I love the single lap qualifying. You know that, Al. But nothing beats that 30-minute qualified race either, man. That is a hoot.
Yeah, a lot of guys really lay it on the line here as Esteban Palacio to 7th. Montgomery Jr. now, part of Two Slackers Racing in the 458 Ferrari.
Yeah, took it a little shallow on entry there, did Salem, so slid off the apex just a little bit.
Ooh, and Salem.
Oh boy.
Yeah, oops it, so he's got to stay on that. Keep it going there, Salem. A little surprised to see that from Salem.
Yeah, I think he was thinking a little bit about that first corner botch job there a little bit, got out of rhythm, and again started feeling the heat a little bit himself. Now this Ferrari not going to be the best performer around here, particularly in the Superpole qualifying, but Salem Montgomery Jr. obviously getting it much too wrong. So I have to say, actually, I was going to comment as we watched Salem run around here that I was a little surprised to see his time kind of buried in the pack in that practice session. So don't know if Salem did not have the opportunity to get much practice in here leading up to this event, but he will be pretty ready to go next week, I'm sure.
So Salem approaching the bus stop. Well off the pace here. This may move him to the back. We have one other spin here, so I'm not sure if Kreshnik spun it. So, no doubt it's going to be a tough night for Salem to work his way through traffic here, but anything's possible. To 20th. Just ahead of Kreshnik. Kevin Miller now. Team Blue Gloves. Second half of Team Blue Gloves. And the Porsche 997.
Yeah, and Kevin Miller did a...
Getting in there hot with a nice slide. Wow. Great job by Kevin.
You know, he did a really nice job there, actually. Got it wrong on entry, but stayed patient, made sure that front end hooked up enough, and really kept the rear under control nicely there, too, coming off corner. Nice job, Kevin. It's not going to help his time, but... So actually,
go ahead.
So actually, a pretty decent split there for Kevin. I keep wanting to say something, and I keep having to wait.
Yep.
But what I was going to say was actually it was a pretty good practice 2 time by Kevin Miller in this 997. So he has got that relatively well hooked up here for a quote-unquote low-power car around this place.
Yeah, you touched earlier on the fuel economy. How do you think that's going to help these guys in a 2-hour race?
Oh no!
No, he lost it. Big heavy impact. Oh, car's dead. Wow, tough break for Kevin. No pun intended. But I've seen that happen. I've done it myself in practice, going through that second part of the bus stop. Wow.
You know, you could really see that he was trying to recover those splits through, and I think he was really trying to get aggressive to try to claw back some of that time. You can't fault a guy for that. He laid it on the line, just didn't work out.
So, that was terminal. So, Aaron Parsons now, with a very surprising pick. I really, tell you what, Brad, you and I drove this car at Saxon Ring, and I think I'd rather stick pins and needles in my eyes than drive that thing around Saxon Ring again. But, well, if anybody can make it work, I'm sure it's Parsons in the Dodge Viper.
Well, no stranger to the cars and how they get around some of these tracks, the very driving characteristics of them. So I don't think it's such a bad pick. I don't think it's such a bad pick myself, really. It does have a decent amount of downforce, decent amount of power. Uh-oh, we lost somebody.
So Aaron 2/10 off in the first split.
Yeah, just taking a look through time and scoring, looks like John Houston actually did turn a better lap in that practice 2 time than did teammate Aaron Parsons, so that's interesting to see.
I know Parsons came into the session late, so he's 3/10 off there in the second split. So very nice.
Yeah, he has a chance. He has a chance to pick up some time here. That SRT Viper is not short on power.
How does it compare to the competition coupe? I think the CC's a bit quicker, right?
Yeah, there's nothing that compares to the competition coupe Viper. So it, in terms of raw speed, that's pretty much the pinnacle. Wow!
Reverse. Wow, he made it up. He made it up in the second. Picked up 5/10.
Yeah, compared to the Gumpert of Chris Moses, that SRT Viper has it well covered, and I suspect that we might see exactly that. Nice job, Aaron Parsons.
So now Mike Monahan, Chow Mein Moto. His teammate Palacio. Where did he end up again? Oh yeah, he's in 8th currently. So a couple seasons ago, these guys really put a charge towards that team championship, losing out right in the second to last or final event of the season. They had a tough finish after leading much. I believe it was season 21. They led much of the season in the team points and just missed out there at the end.
Yeah, sure did, as Mike Monahan does come through half a second off through that first split. So they had led all the way up into the 6th or 7th event, and really by pretty wide margin the wheels started to come off for them, and unfortunately they came up just a little short. But these guys work really well together, and when they get enough laps in to be comfortable on any given track, any given event, then they are going to be a threat to score some very nice points.
Monahan entry into the bus stop. Ooh, he picked up some time there. Exit. I think he had to drop a extra gear, I'm not sure.
Well, in any event, it wasn't quite right, so I don't know if he's going to hold on to that time he gained, but still in all, it's going to be a nice lap for Mike.
Absolutely, yeah. So Mike to the line, to 9th. So we're coming close to the finish here. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Greg Myers now starting his lap. Let's jump on board with Greg, making his way through the first sector. The single lap Superpole is a lot of guys like this format. It can be a bit of a challenge there when you have 30 some odd guys. It can take a while, but as long as everybody sticks to the plan and gets out quick, then it's not so bad. So lap around here actually isn't too bad. It's, we're seeing a minute 40 something, so it's manageable.
Yeah, so Greg also in one of those 458 Italias, and he is the best of the quote-unquote low-power cars here in this qualifying event. So Gregory Myers doing a very fine job in that practice session to earn himself a pretty nice qualifying spot for Superpole.
Yeah, I remember during the draft there was some question about the car. Kind of just, because I believe it was only Greg. Greg was the only one who picked for the team, and he went ahead and picked the Ferrari. But I don't know if he was so sure about his pick. Or there were some questions there up in the air, but they hung on to the car. They're driving it.
Yeah, again, this car, great all-around performer. So it just lacks a little bit of power is about the only thing that it's going to do, but it doesn't lack so much power that it can't perform very well around this plate.
So Greg to the line, to 11th. not a bad
Yeah,
time
it's
there for Greg.
not at all. It's going to become more and more difficult for these guys to match that Aaron Parsons final sector time.
Now we have John Houston, Aaron Parsons' teammate, part of T-Brock Dam Bam GT2. Stands for I don't remember, something about a dingo. It ate my baby.
I think it's a baby and a dingo and yeah.
So Houston,
I mean, who really cares at this point? It's, you know, it's down in the annals of myth and legend.
So Houston here through the first split. Ooh, a bit off there, the first sector.
So yeah, let's see here. Aaron was 0.3 off in the second sector, so it was a good half second Aaron Parsons picked up over Chris Moses there in that final sector, so he really nailed it. A few cars yet to come up, and some power cars piloted by some power drivers as well, so we'll see.
Houston through the bus stop. A little over a second off the pace. See if he can make up some of that time here in the...
I don't think he's going to get down to teammate Aaron Parsons' time, but he held nice speed through that second sector.
You see most guys taking a low line here through the banking ride. Is that the preferred line, or does it? So Houston to
well, unlike some other sims, unlike real world racing, you aren't going to get any benefit by running up close to the wall, taking away any of the aero or anything like that, so you might as well run toward the bottom. The main thing is not to turn the wheel very much. You want to have very little steering input because that can actually wear off some of your time.
It's good to know, as Rodrigo Triana now takes the start of his lap, as he is also in a Ford GT, part of Team Columbia Vintage, the reigning GT2 team champions.
Yeah, congratulations to those guys. They've got their prizes, and looking forward to the start of another good season for them.
Oh, that sounded odd. Oh, sounds like he's hanging onto that rev limiter, Brett.
Yeah, he might be. I suspect that he's using a little bit of engine braking there in those second gear corners. I assume that they're second gear corners for him.
Should be a good lap for Triana. He looked pretty decent in the first sector. Looking very good through the bus stop. Real nice, actually.
Yeah, now this would put him a virtual second, or close to anyway, depending on how he gets through that last sector. That was a blazer for Aaron Parsons, and Chris Moses actually did a pretty good job there too, sitting provisionally in that second spot.
Third with a 45.2. Wow. His teammate now, Juan Monroy, starting his lap. Monroy getting his first NAGP victory last season. Actually hoping to meet Monroy this weekend, as I will be in Indianapolis for the Indy 500. And I believe he's going to be around. I think he works for one of the Colombian teams in the F2000 series. F3, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but in any event, he will be out there crewing, so...
Yep. We'll be looking for him, myself, Rich Roman, and Chris Moses. Whoever else we need. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and... Oh, yeah, you guys are going to have a blast. I'm jealous. But to Juan Monroy in particular, yeah, it was great to see him get that win finally, and I think the guy, I mean, he deserved it. Let's be honest. Juan Monroy started off his NAGP career a little shaky, and really has just turned in to be one of the solid veterans around here. It has to be said. So, vast improvement by Juan Monroy, and it's definitely paid dividends.
Yeah, it certainly has. He's a bit off there in the second sector. Not nearly as bit off his teammate as well. Should be in the top 10, however.
Yeah, Triana got off that turn 7 very nicely, so both of them did get through the bus stop chicane pretty well, but losing out, I believe, in turn 6 and 7 did Juan Monroy.
Oh, maybe not, to 12th. Wow, a little disappointing there for Monroy. Expected better. So Felipe Triana on his, looks like his out lap, a little tardy to start his lap, so doesn't look like he got the memo.
Well, a little tardy is better than a lot tardy. We'll take what we can get.
Absolutely, yeah. So Felipe teamed up with Sebastian Moreno, driving the Audi R8. Big slide there going into 1.
I didn't think there was any way he was going to hold on to that, Al.
I was shocked myself.
We'll see. You know, sometimes getting it a little bit wrong in turn 1 won't necessarily hurt your first sector time. I think it might in this particular case, but we'll see.
Coming down to the wire here, Felipe actually put in some very fast times in practice. He's only 2/10 off in the first sector.
Yeah.
So you got to keep in mind, these guys have been waiting around for quite some time to start their lap. So these guys might be a little cold.
Yeah, again.
Go ahead, Brad.
I was going to say, again, one of the things that won't be cold are their tires at this point.
Yeah, the track temperature has certainly gone up as Triana is
Wow.
up in the second sector. And got through the bus stop decently.
Yeah, decently. I don't think he's going to have the run to get Aaron Parsons, but what a second sector he put in. This is a good performer on power. It is not bad.
To third. Bumping his brother, Rodrigo, back. So Dan Wilkerson, the pressure's on. Dan Wilkerson, he's driving the Viper CC.
Yeah, here we go.
This car is a beast, as Brad mentioned earlier. Kind of in a class of its own here, especially at a track like this.
Well, both Cuppet and Wilkerson have also been making vast strides in terms of speed on track. They're in a great car for this track. They're motivated. They put in some time. And it is great to see because these guys not so long ago were used to fighting for even just points, let alone some of these top spots. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if they can maintain some good success here tonight. Start the season off with a bang.
Now's where we'll see this Viper really stretch its legs.
Yeah, all about getting through that bus stop chicane with this car. She is not too happy turning. She likes more to go straight. So if you got a good setup and you can get through that bus stop chicane, you can really make up some time.
See how Dan gets through. Ooh, coming in hot. Ooh, that was close.
Actually did pick up a little bit of time in that second sector.
Yeah, that was close on a cut there. I wasn't sure. I really couldn't tell from my angle.
I'll take a look at the replay here. Yeah, it looks clean out. Looks all right.
Second half. All right, Dan to the line. Man, he's flying. Wow, to 11. Very surprised by that. I thought he was quicker. So, no doubt. Oh, as Nick Johnson now has begun his lap. Nick in the Aston Martin, part of Team Snooze Button. Teammate David Rowley. Looks like he forgot to hit his. Looks like he did hit his snooze button, as he has not made an appearance yet tonight.
Not overly shocking.
So Nick, very happy with this car. Makes a lot of power. He's only a tenth off, nearly just under 2/10 off there in the first sector.
Well, this Aston Martin is going to be tough to beat, either in the hands of Nick Johnson or anybody else for that matter. It did get a bit of downforce upgrade, and we already know it makes great power. So the Aston Martin is going to be a very tough competitor this season.
So Nick picks up some time there through the second sector.
And got through the bus stop pretty nice.
I don't see how you could do it any better.
No.
Looks like Nick may find himself on provisional pole here to close out of this lap. Bang, to first with a 44.5.
So best time we saw. Sorry, Al. Best time we saw in practice was a 44.4 by Alex White, coming up momentarily.
Now Jonathan Cuppett. The other Viper here. Let's see if Cuppett can throw down a lap here in this car. Really show everybody what it's capable of. Part of Aim High Racing.
So it's kind of hope and pray time now for Nick Johnson and Aaron Parsons at the front. Not too many guys yet to survive, and Jonathan Cuppett is just about on that split time. I know it says six seconds down, but for Nick Johnson and Aaron Parsons, there's only a couple guys they have to survive to lock in that front row on the grid. So they're hoping that either these guys behind them are feeling some pressure, can't get down to that time, or perhaps make a mistake out there.
Man, it would be great to see Cuppett start on the front row. Be nice to see. It'd be a good story here for us, Brad. Ooh, 6/10 off there in the second sector, but he may be able to make it up here in the final, this back straight.
You know, it's odd. He had a shift right there, leaving the apex, last apex there. So I'm not sure if he had to drop a gear there or if he has it set up a little oddly. In any event, I don't think it's good.
Nope. To 9th.
Yeah, I think he had to drop an extra gear there. It gotten maybe a little out of shape or something. That Viper does not like to turn, as mentioned.
So, 2 drivers left here. Now we're up with Andres Preto as he is heading out to begin his qualifying lap. Andre is season 22 drivers champion.
Yeah, congratulations to Andre. He earns himself yet another trophy, and he was only 1/10 off of Alex White's practice time, so here we go. The final 2.
Going to ride on board with Andre. No doubt this is going to be a great time. Andre, definitely a great performer, especially under pressure. In situations like this, does very well. split. A little bit of a lurch there, but gets it under control. Back straight. Gets it through this bus stop in good form. I think he may be the provisional pole sitter. We'll have to wait. Approaching the bus stop. Ooh, he is up. About a tenth and a half.
Oh, he got good power down there, Al.
Yeah, he did.
Alright, whatever time this is, if he does go to pole, Alex White is going to see that pop up on his telemetry. That's going to give Alex a little something extra to think about.
Dang, 44.2. What a lap. It's the best lap we've seen so far. Okay, so yeah, Matt Taylor is out. I'm not sure why he had a time next to his name, but
yeah,
there was some.
Yeah,
there was certainly a timing glitch there. So Matt is out. He was the second best qualifier there in practice. So.
okay, I see. So he'll at least have the opportunity to try to better that time, I guess. Or I guess he'll have to live with ninth, one or the other, right, Al?
Yep.
A little extra time for perhaps for Alex White to think about this 144.2 put up by Andres Prieto. Now, there's no reason to think that these two, Andres Prieto and Alex White, that is, won't be battling for the championship this next season as well. You never know what's going to happen throughout the course of the season, but these guys are the perennial front runners for that championship in the GT2 class at the moment.
So Matt Taylor joining Axis of Awesome. As Taylor's off by just about a tenth and a half. So Taylor joins up with Alex White. David Rowley got the walking papers after the end of season 22.
Yes, released from his contract was David Rowley.
Somewhat expected as Matt Taylor approaches the line. It's going to be a good lap to second. Unable to out-qualify Prieto, but with a 44.492. Good lap for Taylor. Excellent lap.
An excellent lap by Matt Taylor, and not one Matt Taylor that we are necessarily expecting to see there up toward the top, so it is nice to see. Matt Taylor, good speed, of course, but not typically at that sharp end of the spear, as it were.
So now Alex White, our final runner here in Superpole.
I didn't see that first turn.
A little shaky there on exit, Brad. Something tells me he'll be up big. That always happens when we watch his Superpole laps. I don't know if he's up or down.
Yeah, he's right in there.
Making his way to the bus stop. Oh, he's up nearly 3/10. Yeah, looks like he got through there very nicely, so unless he hits a deer, he's probably going to be on the provisional pole.
Yeah, saw quite a few 44, well, he turned to 44.4, but I noticed quite a few 44.7 laps. I suspect that those were not qualifying laps.
There it is, 44 flat. So Alex White, your pole sitter here in Superpole qualifying. So great lap by Alex. Prato to second with a 44.2. Matt Taylor with a great run, as did Nick Johnston. Parsons and Moses, the only other guys in the 44s. So, pretty good event here, Brad, as we got to switch it over here.
Yeah, a very exciting event. Interesting to see the car makes and models out there with the new drivers behind the wheels. I got to tell you, I think I'm most impressed with that Chris Moses time. They're dipping into the 44s in that Gumpert. Not a car you'd necessarily expect to show that type of speed on this track. So Chris Moses still very much in form. Alex Scott as well, it has to be said. Very nice time for Alex Scott there in ninth. So good qualifying effort, and the hits keep coming as we move on to our 30-minute qualifying race.
So we're gonna we got a brief moment here while guys we enter quali 2. Guys are gonna rejoin the session here. The guys that might have dropped out. And then we'll head over to warm-up. So while we got this little dip in the action, I'm going to take a quick break, Brad, and wet my whistle.
Good. When you get back, I'm doing the same.
All right.
So, in other words, don't take too much time. But he knew that. So, quick reminder for you. You are watching live coverage from NAGP TV here at the Daytona Road Course for the kickoff event of our Season 23 GT2 Championship. Good to have you. Thanks for tuning in. And for everybody who views this later, thanks for taking part in this Season 23. It's been a very large grid for us here tonight in our Superpole qualifying event. Ordinarily don't run the Superpole events here in the GT2 class with very large fields. It can take a long time, but we certainly did tonight, and we were treated to a pretty good show as well. I had a couple guys spin off, a few guys showing a little nerves out there, but other than that, all the field putting in some very fine laps. And it has to be said that the times are very tight on this circuit, where they are running about in the 1 minute 45 second range, so that's good to see. The qualifying race to come, a different matter altogether, of course, as they will be taking the track for the first time in anger in over a month. So the draft will play a huge role here, coming down those long back straights. And at that point, it's anybody's game. So Alex White and Andres Prieto up there toward the front will lock in their qualifying position. So for next week's feature event, they will start 1 and 2, barring any catastrophic penalties they may incur in this qualifying race. And they're safe. Everybody else will be racing for their position to start that feature race next week. And that's where things get a little interesting. So Matt Taylor there in a third spot. Well, if he expects to start third in that feature event, he is going to have to finish third in this event or better. A few points on offer here as well tonight. So Alex White actually has picked up a bonus point for qualifying there first, putting it on pole. So Alex White already your season GT2 championship leader with that 1 point. The driver who does cross the finish line first here in our qualifying race will pick up 3 points, second place 2, and third place will pick up 1 point. So a few more points here on offer for these guys, but the real goal is to put yourself well up into the qualifying order for that feature event next week. And there will be some guys who wish to move forward. Salem Montgomery Jr., we know that he perennially has a very good speed. He will be starting toward the back. Kevin Miller had a spin. We know that he has good speed as well, so he will be embroiled in traffic and trying to move forward. Kreshnik Halili as well. Ian Jolicoeur did not put in a very good time in that qualifying period. He will be starting this qualifying race in the 21st position. He will have the opportunity to move up as well, but not too far in front of Ian in 21st. You have the likes of Gregory Myers, Johnny Lugnutz, Juan Monroy, Mike Monahan. I tell you, this field is deep in terms of speed, so not going to be an easy task for any of these drivers if they expect to advance their positions here and have that good starting position next week. So
Okay, Brad, I am back. Well, looks like we have lost Brad. He is a casualty tonight. That's unfortunate. So, we're in the warm-up here. Alex White, the provisional pole setup. As guys making their way around. Just want to touch real quick, if you would like to follow live timing here tonight, be sure to visit NorthAmericanGP.com, and right at the top there, the menu, you see the GT2 live timing button. Click on that. Follow your favorite driver on track, which is what I will be doing right now. As a point of reference, also quick mention, any Facebook users out there, you can follow North American Grand Prix on Facebook. It's just search North American Grand Prix. And we now have a Twitter account, so at North American GP. Don't ask me how it works, but we do have one now, so you can find all kinds of news and notes there as well. So feel free to follow us. Ooh, Alex White coming together with one of the Team TFS drivers. Hoping that doesn't happen. So Alex White and Andres Prieto, they'll be starting 1-2. Those two guys have been duking it out the last several seasons. Trading off drivers' championships. Last season was a tough season for White. He had some connection issues early on, which really took him out of the running. Really had a strong finish though the end of last season, and finished quite well. I mean, it would have been quite a fight if he didn't suffer those issues at the start of the season. So we got warm up closing out really relatively soon here. Got about 30 seconds left. And we'll be off to the races. Warm-up session here is in daylight, but the race will be at night. With Brad gone, I will do my best to cover all the action on track. Matter of fact, Rich Roman, our Stewart here tonight. I think he is in the server. Let's see if he can jump in here with us.
Okay, I've reacquired contact.
Rich Roman, do you copy?
Good.
You're in the server, correct?
That is correct.
Alright, so you're going to be my eyes and ears here tonight as Brad has lost connectivity to the server.
I've reestablished contact.
Oh, you're in the server?
No.
Oh. So, yeah. So, Roman, yeah, you're going to have to be my eyes and ears here.
Alright, no problem.
If you don't mind. Alright, so here we are, 87 degree track temp, 78 degree ambient temperature. It's a nice night race here at Daytona, starting from pole. Alex White, followed by Andres Prieto in second, Matt Taylor third. Nick Johnson's going to be starting fourth, Aaron Parsons fifth. Chris Moses is sixth. Felipe Triana will be starting second, qualifying his brother, Rodrigo Triana, in eighth. Alex Scott, 9th. David Poole will be starting 10th. Jonathan Cuppett, 11th. Jaime Moore, 12th. John Houston, 13th. Marty Urenin, 14th. Dan Wilkerson, 15th. Esteban Palacio, 16th. His teammate right behind him at 17th, Mike Monahan. Juan Monroy, 18th. Disappointing start for him. Johnny Lugnut's 19th. Greg Myers, 20th. Ian Jolicoeur, 21st. Kurt Chandler, 22nd. Mike Greatrix, 23rd. Ken Rodriguez, 24th. His teammate, Jack Ivey, 25th. Chuck Carter, 26th. Carter's teammate, 27th. John London. Brian Story, 28th. Lou Mascarelli in 29th. Montgomery Jr. in 30th. Krishna Khalili, 31st. Newcomer Sebastian Moreno will be 32nd. Kevin Miller, 33rd. And Mike Trussler, I think he joined late. He's in 34th, starting from the rear. So lights on as these guys get ready to head out on to start this race.
20 seconds.
So having the opportunity to look back through the grid and who might be coming back through the field, I got to looking through the order, and you know what? There's a lot of guys, some of the other fast guys are going to have to get through if they expect to pick up some spots here.
About to go green here, the Daytona round 1 Superpole qualifying race. And we're off. A lot of wheel spin from White, but gets away from the line pretty well. As further back, it looks like Felipe Triana and Parsons had a little coming together. This is going to be interesting going into turn 1. Matt Taylor nearly gets into the back of his teammate, but keeps it together, and it's a Axis of Awesome 1-2 early on. Prieto hung out to dry there, falls back to third. Prieto having a look on the inside as Taylor takes it wide, and it looks like Taylor's going to be able to hang on to that. Great start to this race for Matt Taylor, and Taylor takes it off. No, he hung on to it. Looked like he ran it wide. Boy, he's doing everything he can to give that position back to Prieto. Meanwhile, Nick Johnson just hanging back, hoping these guys come together. It's going to be a drag race, Ford versus Aston. Prieto muscles by him.
Look, Matt Taylor has put in some very fine drives, but let's face it, he has not had a lot of opportunities to run really up toward these types of positions before, so it's a little bit of a new experience for him.
Chris Moses making the move on Nick Johnson, gets it done, but I think Nick Johnson's going to be able to respond. Wow, what a great pass by Moses on Nick Johnson in that comfort. There's the draft working for you. Nick getting tucked underneath Moses, followed by Triana and Jaime Moore Oh, a train of cars. Oh, and Moses and Triana come together. Triana really needs to keep that Audi under control as Jaime Moore goes into a spin, collects. We have some contact further back.
Yeah, boy.
Cuppets off. That was all, Triana, he needs to settle down. That was all precipitated by him. Cuppet needs to take the access road to get back on track. I've never seen that happen, but he gets it done, so Parsons falling back to 28th. Even further back, he must have some damage to that Viper, yep.
Yeah, there's going to be a few guys with damage out there. Not particularly happy at this point, that's for sure. The competition committee will have some reviewing to do for next week's feature race.
So it's Alex White, Prato 1 and 2, Matt Taylor running third, Nick Johnson back and forth with Triana and Chris Moses. Not a track you want to have damage on, aero damage. And Moses is unable to tuck up underneath Triana.
Yeah, aero damage around here is just horrible.
Triana looking on the inside of Nick Johnson. David Poole now coming up behind Chris Moses. Looks like he might get a run on Moses. He's going to be losing. Yeah, he's already falling back. He can't hang with some of these guys in the front.
Oh, Ez is way back. Ez is in 34th. He got collected going into turn 1. I think he's got a flat or some suspension damage.
Well, what a start by Kung Fu Racing. Joe LaCour. Ooh, as Uren now takes it off. I was just going to mention what a start by those two guys, but Uren loses position to his teammate Joe LaCour, but those guys working in conjunction with one another. So Prato, we missed it. Prato has fallen back to 4th. He must have made a mistake. That's allowed Nick Johnson to jump up to 3rd. Matt Taylor now in 2nd.
Wow.
Aaron Parson is having the worst luck in the world right now.
Triana.
And Monroy's first.
What a hectic start to this race. Prato taking a look on the inside of Nick Johnston. He's going to get it done. He does. This race looking max distance 14, expected to go about 13 laps.
It might feel like about 50 to these guys at this moment. You're absolutely right about the hectic start. I mean, the stars were aligned correctly to have one of these types of hectic starts, but once again, this field through fighting has allowed Alex White a lot of escape room.
Johnson hangs on to that 4th spot in front of Felipe Triana. David Poole now up to 6th. Chris Moses running in 7th. He's got Joe LaCour and Marty Uren, the two Kung Fu Racing boys, right behind him. John Houston in the top 10. Johnny Lugnut's running in 11th, followed by Greg Myers in 12th. Great start by those two. Esteban Palacio running 14th as Rodrigo Triana. Sorry, Montgomery Jr., who started and in the back, is now up to 14th, benefiting from that incident in lap 2. Rodrigo Triana running 15th, Jaime Moore in 16th, Dan Wilkerson back in 17th, while Jonathan Cuppet, his teammate, is running 18th. Disappointing start for those two. Sebastian Moreno in 19th. Jack Ivey running 20th. Alex Scott 21st. Liquid Lou Mascarelli running in 22nd. Kevin Miller 23rd. Kurt Chandler's running in 24th. Juan Monroy. Just stuffs it into the wall. Loses it going into the... And Chuck Carter got into him. So Chuck lost it as well and lost his front clip. So Chuck's going to have to come in for service. Raytrix in 28th. Raytrix got heavy damage to the front of his Ford. Mike Trussell's running in 28th. Parsons now back to 30th. Monroy now to 31st. Wow. And Halili bringing up the rear. I'm sorry, no, that would be Rodriguez. So Rodriguez must have been caught up in an incident as well.
This is relatively similar, really, to some of the Aaron Parsons luck he had last season there in season 22. Had a horrible start to the season and really finished it off strong, but no doubt visions of that horrible start to last season popping up for Aaron Parsons at this point.
So Alex White continues to lead this race. Has led since the drop of the green flag. His teammate Matt Taylor running not far behind him in second. Preto now some distance between himself and Matt Taylor. He's got put a gap between him and Triana as well. Nick Johnson running fifth, followed by David Poole in sixth. Joe LaCour in seventh, followed by John Houston. Chris Moses continues to fall back. That aero damage is really taking its toll on him. We got a battle here for 10th between Lugnuts, Greg Myers. It looks like we got a lap car. I think that's Ken Rodriguez in between those guys and Rodrigo Triano. Rodrigo looking to get the toe off the BMW and trying to get a toe off the Ferrari of Greg. As they go side by side into one. Greg's going to hang on to him.
You know, quickly taking a look at their timing and scoring here, it does look like Andres Prieto does have some pretty good speed on Matt Taylor at this point. He may have a chance to claw back some time toward that second spot.
And Joe LaCour with a nice pass on John Houston for 7th. Moses looking to take advantage as well. It's a tight battle for that 8th spot. Looking further up. David Poole doing a good job hanging on to the back of Nick Johnston. It's asking a lot out of that Guppert to hang up with those really powerful cars, but he's doing a great job. Guys, such a short race. They got 2 cuts through that bus stop. Anyone over 2 cuts in either the entry or the exit will be dock a lap. So this guy's gonna have to keep that in mind as well as this race goes on.
Yeah, that's not many cuts. They'll have a few more to play with next week, but for this race, not so much. Not too many opportunities to get that one wrong.
So taking a look at the splits, that gap is now just about 2 seconds between Taylor and Andres Prieto. And about 3 seconds back is Triana, as Nick Johnson now has made it a race between himself and Triana. Triana really got a toe off him earlier and managed to get by him on the straight, but Nick Johnson has been able to hang on to the back of Triana. I'll go with him.
Yeah, and as you watch Nick have that battle for 4th, Andres Prieto does continue to take out time on Matt Taylor. I think he will have a go at him in the next couple, 3-4 laps.
Ooh, big moment for Triana. That collects. Nick is involved. That gives David Poole gets by Nick Johnson. So Nick, an unlucky recipient of a mistake by Triana. Is David Poole now going to try to go to work on Triana and get past him down the straight here?
Pretty much David Poole's standard mark orders. Keep it on track when everybody else has problems and move his way forward.
So Poole keeping it nice through that turn one. Still hanging on to the back of Triana. This part of the track's going to benefit David. So Nick, after that little incident, drops back to 6th. The gap continues to shrink between Prato and Matt Taylor as Prato starts beginning to close the gap up on Taylor. So keep in mind there are points awarded here for the top 3 finishers, so Prato's going to want to score as many points as he can to get out of here. Look forward to next week. Something in the bag.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, Andres is actually taking time out of Alex White there in first as well. Now, don't know if he'll be able to get past Matt Taylor and make a charge up to Alex White, but Andres definitely looking for that second spot.
Rest of the top 10 is spread themselves out a little bit. Johnny Luckock's now running in 10th. Johnny putting in a strong run here in this qualifying race, followed by the teammates in the Ferraris, Greg Myers and Salem Montgomery Jr. So great showing by those two guys. We may have a change of position here
nice
between
result.
teammates. Montgomery. Side by side into 1, Montgomery up to 11th. I mean more behind these two in 13th, with Dan Wilkerson running 14th.
Sorry, John Houston just had a big moment in turn 3.
So missed that, but none the worse for wear. Still in the 7th spot.
Yeah, he's going sideways through a lot of the corners, so if he keeps that up, Chris might be able to catch him and maybe challenge him for a position here.
So Taylor's
working lap 8.
Yep, Taylor's gonna have his work cut out for him now. He's got a hard charge in Prato looking take that second spot away from him.
Yeah, and though I do not have my pictures up, I'm not in the server, I can tell you right now, Andres Prieto is not going to be patient at all trying to make this pass. I think he feels like he still has a shot to get Alex White.
Montgomery Jr. now all over the back of Johnny Lugnuts. Lugnuts will hang on to that position going into 1. Further back, got Sebastian Moreno putting on a good run here, running 15th. Ooh, he manages to, ooh, big lurch, big moment. That's going to give Marty 15th. So Moreno, with a moment on the braking there, drops back to 16th. Joe LaCour, ooh, Joe LaCour with some heavy damage to the front of his Mercedes. He was running well into the top 10. He's dropped down to 17th.
Yeah, around the same time, Nick Johnston had an incident. All I caught was Ian nosing it in the chicane there. And losing getting some damage in it. Meanwhile, Andre's right on Matt Taylor's double. Oh, he's going for a pass.
So Prato gets a gun going into the bus stop. Wow, with relative ease. Not much of a fight there from Taylor.
What is that gap, if you don't mind me asking?
It's 5 seconds.
5 seconds. And closing.
Yeah, I of course can use the wonderful timing and scoring here on NAGP, NorthAmericanGP.com to check some of those gaps. I think Andre's, I don't know, but he's going to try.
So he's making up a lot of time under braking, going into all the corners basically.
So big battle. Ooh, more with the moment. That's a self-induced spin right there. Ooh, and Houston gets involved. Lugnuts as well. He had to take evasive action. So wow. Well, we said that the qualifying race is wow. Jack Ivey sending Jaime Moore packing. That was quite the move there, Jack. So looking further back here, Watson up to 24th. Kevin Miller's running 25th. Monroy back in 26th. Tough start for Monroy. Alili 27th. Parsons now running in 28th. Matrix 29th. Brian Story's in 30th. Cup at 31st. Ken Rodriguez in 32nd. And that's your running order. So something tells me, guys, that the CC members are going to be rather busy.
Nick Johnson almost lost it trying to pass David Poole on the outside of turn 1.
So David Poole coming under intense pressure from Nick. David getting by Nick after his little incident with Triana. Gap is now down to 4 seconds even between Prato and White. I just don't think he's got enough time to make a move on him. We're winding down here, working lap. Looks like 12 or 11.
Yeah, that gap has been closing about 1/2 second per lap from Andres Prieto to Alex White. So yeah, just based on time, you wouldn't think that he has enough laps to do it, but certainly closing in and giving it a good shot.
David Poole now, Nick Johnson now right on the bumper of David Poole as they head down head towards the start-finish line. A simultaneous spin there. Looks like Nick might have stalled the engine. He does. He has. He gets it going again. He's dropped back to 8th. So, looks like David Poole with the moment there. He got it sideways and Nick got it sideways, trying to brake to avoid David, but I think Nick got the worst of that again.
Yeah, Chris Moses has been hanging in there. He benefits a spot from that, but that turn one has just wreaked so much havoc tonight. It's always a tough spot, but it has really taken its toll here tonight.
Alex White approaching the bus stop. Checking in with the fast lap of the race so far with the 44.7, so putting in some flyers. His last lap was a 45 flat, just not enough time. One to go. Yeah, he's really heavy on the brake and a lot of tire smoke. You can tell he's pushing hard. As Alex approaching some lap traffic.
Yeah, there's not much which motivates Andres more than having somebody in front of him.
Porsche losing it in turn one. Chris Moses in sixth with a battered Gumpert. Rodrigo Triana now up to 7. Nick Johnson back in 8th. Montgomery Jr. and Greg Myers running 9th and 10th. So what a great job by those guys. And nice recovery for Dan Wilkerson too, up to 11th. Sebastian Moreno running 13th. Houston 14th. Lugnuts and Joe LaCour duking it out for that 15th position. Palacio in 17th. Scott 18th. Jack Ivey and Kurt Chandler running 19th and 20th. And Ivy Moore in 21st. So back up front here. Looks like this should be the final lap of the race.
One more.
Oh, that's
Oh,
it.
no.
Alex White is your winner. Preto takes second. Matt Taylor takes third. Felipe Triana is going to finish fourth. David Poole should take fifth here. And Chris Moses out of retirement to finish sixth. Triana 7th, Nick Johnson to 8th. Montgomery, oh, what a battle there, what a finish. Montgomery, Myers, and Wilkerson, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Marty, 12th, thought he was out of gas. Moreno, 13th, nice show on his first run. 14th, John Houston. Lugnuts, is he going to hang on to 15th? He does. Joe LaCour finishes 16th. Palacio 17th. Ivy 18th. Scott 19th. Moore 20th. Chandler 21st. Mascarelli and Mike Trussler to the line. Gonna be close. Who hangs on? Watson 24th and Monroy 26th. 25th, sorry, Miller 26th. Halili takes 27th. And Parsons 28th. Brian Story's going to come around in 29th. So that's going to do it. I'll tell you what, after a season off, some of these guys getting a little loopy out there, Brad.
Yeah, those first events will typically end up doing that, but it's also, you know, good side, bad side. These guys are going to be much better prepared for next week's race. They've had a chance to to dip their toe back into the deep end of the pool, and so I know a lot of these guys are going to get it back together, and there are going to be quite a few guys that are fast toward the back looking to pick up some spots. So the feature race is going to be very intriguing. I'm looking forward to it very much.
Well, we got our top qualifier and race winner here tonight, Alex White, in the channel. Congratulations, Alex, on not only a great qualifying run, but a great race there in the qualifying race. First off, let's talk about your lap there. How were you feeling there for that qualifying lap? Did you know you had it, or?
I honestly didn't think I'd get it, quite honestly. Andres put in a pretty decent lap, which was faster than anything I'd done before. So it was a case of, right, let's just completely go for it and see what happens. And I thought I'd messed it up at the first corner because it was totally sideways through there. But the rest of the lap was alright. I got the bus stop chicane absolutely perfect, so gained quite a lot of time there. And yeah, it wasn't bad. Then in the race, I definitely think Andres has pace on me. He was a good few tenths a lap faster. Even though I was sort of driving well within the limits, it was still worrying to see him that much faster per lap than me. And also, it's nice having a teammate that can drive. Well, that can race well.
Yeah, well, certainly it looked like the exit out of the bus stop chicane really made the difference on that Superpole lap, but I'm wondering about the Aston Martin in general. It does seem like it's going to be a pretty good car, certainly for this track. How do you like its chances and the way it's going to drive over the course of the rest of the season? Do you think you're in pretty good shape?
Yeah. It was our top pick in terms of cars. We're really happy to get it. It does suit quite a lot of the tracks, plus we've got Monza and Rouen as well, so there's definitely tracks that suit it. There's a couple of them that it might be a bit sort of difficult round, like Sandown. That might be a bit of a tough one, but I'm sure we can manage.
So it looks like it's going to be shaping up to be another Alex White, Andres Prieto showdown for season 23. So how do you feel you stack up against him?
He's not bad. Yeah, we've sort of swapped the last 1, 2, 3, 4 championships between us, so he won the last one, so it has to be my turn this season.
Well, a great run tonight, Alex. Great job in the qualifying event. So good luck next week. It's going to be interesting to see how you stack up against him, and running 1 and 2 next week. So it's going to be great to watch and great to broadcast. So good luck and good job tonight.
Thank you. I look forward to watching the broadcast, and definitely need to make up for last season.
Alright, good job. Well, there you have it. We'll be back next week for the 2-hour feature race from Daytona, but that's that run by Prieto, not to take anything away from Alex, but he was flying there after that moment he had.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to actually see that differential in speed. Alex mentioned it himself that he was a little surprised, and I was as well. So I think that, again, you put a little bee in Andres' bonnet, and he does manage to find a little extra time somehow. So, but the race is the race, and we could talk about these two guys all we want and how often they are swapping these championships, but that has nothing to do with when we get into the race next week. So anything can happen there, and a lot of surprises are anything could happen, so we'll just see.
Well, certainly looking forward to a great season 23. We're off to a great start here, so looking forward to next week. So we'll be back next week at 9, next Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the 2-hour feature. And thanks, guys. Thanks, Rich, for jumping in here with us. So till then, we'll see you next week.